It is time to go and do one of my favorite things ever.
And that's another thing. Let me just interject and go on a little tangent for a second. And I'm going to butcher some of these words. Okay, I'm gonna butcher them.
Hello, my friends. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Nellie and I love to read. I have not gone book shopping in a while, which is honestly really good for me. I think last year I honestly went a little bit crazy, and this year I have just been really good and really intentional about reading the books on my TBR and also really taking a look at the books on my shelves and making sure that I'm only keeping books on my shelves that I really want to read in the next year or so. Obviously, it's so fun to book shop. It's so fun to thrift for books, and I definitely did my fair share last year. But as I read more and more books last year, I really realized where my taste lies within books, and I feel like I'm just really honing in on what I personally love in a book, which is so good because that means that when I do go book shopping, I feel like I can be a lot more responsible and informed about my choices. Already since the new year, I have unhauled over 30 books, and I've already read over 20 books off of my physical TBR. So I'm making such good progress. And since it has been a while, and I feel like, again, since I've evaluated my tastes and really honed in on that, I really have been wanting to go to the bookstore just by myself, maybe as like a little self-care thing, but also because there's a few books that I've really been wanting to read for a long time, and also a series that I'm in the middle of right now that I don't have the next book to, so I feel like this is just the perfect time to go into a bookstore. The question is, do I tell you beforehand the books that I'm looking for, or do I just let you guys go in blind? Maybe first I'll tell you where I'm planning on going. I love to shop local, and so I have my local bookstore, which I absolutely love. I buy books there, I sell books there, and it's just one of my favorite places to go, honestly. While I'm there, I love looking at their used book section. They have a great selection of books that are trending, that are popular right now, but I've also just been wanting to go browse around Barnes & Noble. I just love going there. Now, this is not going to be one of those videos where I come back with just a ton of books. I am, again, trying to be really responsible about the ones that I get. I don't want to spend a ton of money, and I don't want to just replace the ones that I've read and unhauled. You know, I feel like that's the vibe for this year. Just being more intentional and responsible. Some books that I've been thinking about lately are, I really realized that I have a love for literary fiction this year. I love reading about sister relationships and family relationships, and I have been thinking a lot about Blue Sisters by Coco Malors. I know that this one is about sisters, and it's about grief as well. These sisters lose one of their sisters, and it affects all of them differently. I'm also in the middle of the Dark Artifices series. I had read the first 6 books in the Mortal Instruments series back when they were coming out when I was younger, and then I also had read the Infernal Devices, which is a trilogy that I love. And I just finished the first book in the Dark Artifices series, which is a reread for me, Lady Midnight, and I believe I've also read Lord of Shadows, but I don't think I ever read Queen of Air and Darkness, but I don't currently own the second book in that series. I also feel like I have really cut down on my romance that I had on my shelves. I don't really have like any left. And I realized for me now that when I read contemporary romance, I almost like reading about older characters that are more experienced, and I want it to be about their relationship and not very insta-love. I want there to be a lot of growth. There are also some fantasy series that I do have on my TBR. I am trying to only do the first in a series. I don't want to buy an entire series outright because I think that was a mistake last year when I realized going into some of these series that I had bought all of them, that I wasn't actually interested in them. I have quite a few books in the back of my mind, and I like to go in with that because you never know what books are on sale, what books are used at my local bookstore that I get 50% off of. And so I like to just have that in the back of my mind and have like a little bucket list, wish list. But yeah, let's just go have fun and see what we can find.
Okay, it is time. It is finally time for the book haul portion of this video. It's a few days later and I waited a few days because I ended up ordering, I think, 2 books that were not in store. So obviously I had to wait for the physical copies to just show you guys. I am going to show you guys in 2 little piles because I wanted to show you the books that I got used, which I always get almost even more excited about, finding used books that have been on my list because I've been pretty strict with myself. Like I have a mental list of the only books that I'm really allowed to buy used if I see them, because if not, then I will just go crazy and then I'll end up with a ton of books on my shelves I'm not interested in reading right then, and I only want to keep books on my physical TBR that I'm interested in picking up like very, very, very soon. So I figured we would go through those first, but I guess I should show you the pile that we're kind of looking at. And guys, I know I said that I was going to shop responsibly and I still feel like I did, but how did I end up with like 10 books? How did that happen? This is why I don't want to do too much book shopping, because this is what ends up happening. And again, I really blame it on the fact that I ended up finding a lot of the books used in one store and I thought I'd maybe get 1 or 2 from that store. I ended up getting 4 and obviously it made my stack a little bit bigger. But I digress. This is the stack that we are currently working with. And let me just go through them. Okay, we're gonna start with the 4 books that I was able to find used. The first one is a book that I knew would be there and I left it last time. I've still been thinking about it, and even though they had the entire series used, I'm trying to really only get the first book in a new series, or even in a series that's completed like this one, just because I have found recently that I will thrift an entire series or I will purchase an entire series, and after the first book I'll just kind of not care that much about the series. So I ended up finding Jade City by Fonda Lee. I know that this is not a new book, but I know it's having a bit of a resurgence, and I feel like this is probably because of Jamie. If you watch Jamie's videos, you know she loves this series, and then I've also seen a few other book creators picking up this series, but this is an urban fantasy. And what really intrigued me about this was the magic system. The magic is based off of, I don't know if it's like a drug or something, but it's based off of jade, and this jade can enhance your abilities, but it also like exacerbates your bad traits. That really intrigued me. I'm just gonna read the back for you guys though, because I feel like that's all I know about it. For centuries, honorable greenbone warriors have used magical jade to enhance their abilities and defend the Isle of Kekon from foreign invasion. Now the war is over and a new generation vies for control of this, again that word, Kekon's bustling capital city. 4 siblings of the powerful Call family must prepare for battle, and the fragile peace between the clans is about to break. From the people that I've seen read this, they've said that they've fallen in love with the characters, but that the magic is really, really interesting again. And a good magic system is always going to get me. But again, I only got the first copy of this series because I want to make sure that I love it before I just go and spend my money on the entire series. I also did break my rule because I was trying not to buy series that are currently on Kindle Unlimited, and I believe this is on Kindle Unlimited. So I was really banking on the fact that I am going to love this book and would want the physical copies, the physical trophies on my shelf. So let's really hope that I love this one. The next one is under the romance fiction category. It's a book that I heard a lot about and have been hearing a lot about since last fall, and so I knew I wanted to get it. When I saw it, I was super excited. Again, I found this used, and that is The Very Secret Society of Irregular Witches. You might be like, Nellie, why didn't you wait until fall? The thing is I feel like this is a book that I would read out of season and I want to read soon. I love a romance book where our female main character is a little bit older. Like if they're in their 30s, great. It also sounded like there was more going on in this book than just the romance, and that is also something that I'm really, really enjoying. You guys probably know already what this book is about because again, it just made its rounds last fall. But essentially we have our female main character who is a witch and she lives in England. Apparently there are not a lot of witches in England, and she ends up for some reason setting up this online account where she posts videos pretending to be a witch. She thinks nobody's gonna see it, but then somebody does end up seeing it and ends up contacting her. An unexpected message arrives begging her to travel to the remote and mysterious Nowhere House to teach 3 young witches how to control their magic. It breaks all of the rules, but Mika goes anyway and is immediately tangled up in the lives and secrets of not only her 3 charges, but also an absent archaeologist, a retired actor, 2 long-suffering caretakers, and Jamie. The handsome and prickly librarian of Nowhere House would do anything to protect the children, and as far as he's concerned, a stranger like Mika is a threat, an irritatingly appealing threat. As she begins to find her place at Nowhere House, there's supposed to be just this sense of found family, just this ragtag group that she really feels like she belongs as a part of them. And I'm just really excited to read more about that. I really like books with a good found family. And again, like a subplot of romance is one of my favorite things. So I'm excited to see how this ends up turning out, how I end up liking it. The next one I'm going to talk about is one that I've been eyeing for over a year now, and I've just been waiting to be able to find it used. I was really excited to find Blue Sisters by Coco Malors. I also love finding a book of the month copy because I have a book of the month shelf and it's almost full. It's been so exciting to just see all of these little spines next to each other. I have just found in this past year that I've really liked fiction books about family relationships and specifically sister relationships as a sister myself, so I'm really excited to read this one. The last one that I found used is one that I've heard incredible things about, and that is The River is Waiting by Wally Lamb. I don't ever buy books that are written by men, and that isn't necessarily on principle, but for some reason I am just drawn towards specific books and they're almost always written by women. So I'm excited to kind of get into just a different book, have a different book on my shelves. And the summary of this book just really intrigued me, other than the fact that I know that this is a really well-loved book and a really well-rated book. It says, Corey Ledbetter is struggling. New fatherhood, the loss of his job, and a growing secret addiction have thrown his marriage to his beloved Emily into a tailspin. And that's before he causes the tragedy that tears the family apart. Sentenced to prison, Corby struggles to survive life on the inside, where he bears witness to frightful acts of brutality, but also experiences small acts of kindness. I love a book with just like, we're just following normal characters and we're seeing just like these little acts of kindness that just tie this book together. So that really intrigued me. As he counts down the weeks, months, and years of his incarceration, he develops elemental kinships with a tender-hearted cellmate, a troubled teen desperate for a role model, and a prison librarian who sees and nurtures his light. Buoyed by them and by his mother's enduring faith in him, Corby begins to transcend the boundaries of his confinement, sustained by his hope that mercy and reconciliation might still be possible. Can his crimes ever be forgiven by those he loves? I feel like this is going to be very inspiring and very full of hope. It's different than anything I have on my shelves, except for maybe I do have Just Mercy by Brian Stevenson. Maybe some similar themes there. But yeah, I'm really excited about this because one of my friends, who I always trust her recommendations, loves this book. Okay, now we're gonna get into books that are probably a little bit more my speed, even though obviously I still want to read all of these pretty equally. And this is a stack that I picked up new. The first one I'm gonna talk about, I'm already in the middle of, and I'm gonna talk about the second and third books at the same time, just because they are both obviously part of a series. And that is Lord of Shadows and Queen of Air and Darkness by Cassandra Clare. I just finished, as I already told you guys, Lady Midnight. I absolutely loved it, and so I just knew that I wanted to have the next two books accessible and potentially finish reading them in February as well, and then move on to the next part of the series. It's a big goal of mine to just binge more series, to read them more back to back, because then right now I'm in the middle of a lot of series, and the reason why that is because I start them and just like don't continue on immediately and I lose steam. So as soon as I read the first book, I just knew that I wanted to continue right into them. I can't really speak much to what's already happening in this second book just because it would be spoilers, but if you like kind of like a forbidden love, I really think you would like this, especially if you already have loved the Mortal Instruments series and that world. This is a interconnected series within that world. I do really think that these books are read best when they're read all together in the specific order that you're supposed to read them in. But I just love these characters. We have Emma, who is our female main character, and she is a very strong, very talented shadow hunter, and she has her parabatai, which is essentially supposed to be your platonic best friend for life, the soldier that is promised to always fight with you and for you, and the two of you are stronger together. But in this world, parabatai are not allowed to be romantically involved. But we see in the first book, our two characters are completely in love with each other and they know that they're not supposed to. And so this is following their story. There's also a mystery of these disappearances, of these bodies that are found washing up. That is really interesting too. And if you are an Edgar Allan Poe fan, then you really should read this series. That's all I'm going to say about it. But I did get both of these, which will complete this trilogy. Another book that I got that is a next in a series is A Fractured Dark by Megan E. O'Keefe. The first book in the series was The Blinded Stars, and I loved it. This is like an epic space opera, and there is just this underlying romantic subplot that is just giving me crumbs, and I'm eating them up. They're so, so good. The yearning in this is so incredible, and again, I can't really speak to what this one is going to be about or read you the summary because that would give things away, but in our first one, we have a story that is just full of conspiracy, intrigue, and again, yearning. Another one that's forbidden love. I just loved it. I think this is a really good series to start if you're getting into sci-fi and you're coming from a romantasy background. This is just like the perfect book. This is absolutely made for you if that's you. The next one I ended up getting because I saw on a display and I had just heard somebody raving about this book. And again, I'm kind of in my fiction era, but that is Theo of Golden. And first of all, I just love the simplicity of this cover. It kind of makes it look like a little bit of a classic. And this is also written by a man, so there we go. One spring morning, a stranger arrives in the small southern city of Golden. No one knows where he has come from or why. His name is Theo, and he asks a lot more questions than he answers. Theo visits the local coffee house, where 92 pencil portraits hang on the walls, portraits of the people of Golden done by a local artist. He begins purchasing them one at a time and putting them back into the hands of their rightful owners. With each exchange, a story is told, a friendship born, and a life altered. A story of giving or receiving, of seeing and being seen. Theo of Golden is a beautifully crafted novel about the power of creative generosity, the importance of wonder to a purposeful life, and the invisible threads of kindness that bind us to one another. Like I said, I'm really enjoying fiction books that have just these normal everyday characters and then just these little interactions or these little acts of kindness that really tie the story together. An author that does that really well is Frederick Bachman, and he's an author that I've been trying to read more of his books this year. And so I've just heard amazing things about this. I originally heard about it on the It Gets Good podcast, and one of the podcasters just raved about it. She said that she loved it, she cried in it, and it's just going to be one of her top reads of this year, and it really intrigued me. It's also the softest, fluffiest book, I have to say, and I'm a sucker for that, but I'm really excited to read this one very soon. The last two are almost kind of like novellas, and they're books that I've really been wanting to read for a long time, and I say a long time, and I mean like months to a year maybe, but it's just they've been on my mind so much, but I haven't been able to find them in store anywhere, and I definitely haven't been able to find them used, so I wanted to take advantage, and I ended up getting When Among Crows by Veronica Roth. Here's the thing about me, I have discovered that I just have a love for folklore, that I have loved folklore ever since I was a child, and I've heard that if you're somebody who likes that, then you should really try When Among Crows. There are 2 books in this series, and they're both very short. The other one just came out a few months ago, and it's called To Clutch a Razor, but this is a book that's endorsed by Holly Black and Leigh Bardugo, which Holly Black, I loved her stories of folklore as a child, as a teenager, and even as an adult. But this book is rooted in Slavic folklore, which I've never really read about, so I'm super excited about it. This is also by the author who wrote Divergent, so that's really interesting to me. But it's supposed to be a tale of witches, knights, and monsters set in modern-day Chicago. We bear the sword, and we bear the pain of the sword. And I'm going to butcher some of these words. Okay, I'm gonna butcher them. On Kupala night, Demeter arrives in Chicago's monstrous magical underworld with a perilous mission. And that's another thing, let me just interject and go on a little tangent for a second. I love a magical underworld. I love it. Like, that is one of the things I love about the Moral Instrument series by Cassandra Clare, and it's also something that I'm excited about. And some of the books on my shelves that I haven't read, like Red City by Marie Lu. I loved it in One for My Enemy by Olive E. Blake. It's something I just really like. So anyways, buzzword for me already. With a perilous mission, pick the mythical fern flower and offer it to a cursed creature in exchange for help finding the legendary witch Baba Yaga. Jaga? Spelled a little differently than in books that I've read with this character. Alla is a fear-eating Zamora afflicted with a bloodline curse that's slowly killing her. She's just desperate enough to say yes to Demeter, even if she doesn't know his motives. Over the course of one night, Alla and Demeter risk life and limb in search of Baba Yaga. Should I be saying Baba Jaga? There is a J, but I don't know, because do Slavic languages use a J as a Y sound? Something I need to look up. And begin to build a tentative friendship, but when Alla finds out what Demeter is hiding, it could destroy them both. Leigh Bardugo says, rich with myth and tapped into the deepest kinds of magic, Roth has created a deliciously strange, multi-layered mystery full of human longing. And Holly Black said, delicious, frightening folklore, perfectly mixed with adventure, heart, and sinister surprise. And one of the things that I remember is that Demeter is some type of I don't know if this is a creature that he is, or if it's just a magic that he has. I'm not really sure quite yet. But apparently in this folklore, when it says like we bear the sword and we bear the pain of the sword, they hold their swords. I don't know if it's like part of their body and it literally slides into their back, and then when they use it, they take it out of their back. But that was so creepy and interesting to me that it really caught my eye, or I should say my ear, when I heard about it like a year ago. But I've been wanting to read this book forever, and it's now in paperback, so obviously saved a little bit on that. But yeah, I've just been really intrigued by this. Another one that I've been really intrigued by, and for similar reasons, is The River Has Roots by Amal El Motar. This is supposed to be another one that's got a little bit of like folklore, but is also a story about sisters. So for me, this has potential to be 5 stars because, again, I'm a lover of folklore and I love books about family relationships. So very intrigued by this, and rather than try to explain it to you, I'm just going to read this. Oh, what is stronger than a death? 2 sisters singing with one breath. In the small town of Thistleford on the edge of Fairy, the mysterious Hawthorne family tends to the willow trees there. For as long as anyone can remember, the Hawthorns have paid tribute to the willow trees, honoring an ancient compact to sing to them in thanks for their magic. None, though, have taken up this calling more devotedly than the family's latest daughters, Esther and Isabel, who cherish each other as much as they cherish the trees. But when Esther rejects a forceful suitor in favor of a lover from the land of Fairy, not only the sisters bond, but also their lives will be at risk. It sounds so good. It sounds so freaking good. I actually might read this next, but it is dubbed. I keep saying dubbed. Why do I keep saying dubbed? It is also endorsed on the back by Holly Black, which we all know I love her. Alex E. Haro, which is another author I've been wanting to read. I've heard her writing's really beautiful. But also Fonda Lee, who wrote Jade City. So that's very interesting to me. And then T. Kingfisher. And I just read a book by T. Kingfisher that I really liked. But Holly Black specifically says, half delicious murder ballad, half beguiling love story. Amal El Motar transports us to fairyland so seamlessly it seems as though she just stepped out of it. Which, that's just a book that I know I'm gonna love. I know I'm gonna love this. Really excited to read it. And these are 2 books that I haven't really heard too many people talking about. I do think Luce recently read this, but before that, I don't think I'd heard anybody. And I just think this cover is extremely beautiful as well. And just the back, so beautiful. I will say this is probably the book haul that has me the most excited that I've done in a year, and I do really think that it's because I have gotten down to the nitty-gritty of what I like in a book and what I will enjoy in a book. I will be very shocked if I rate any of these under 4 stars, to be honest. And that's kind of what I have wanted and why I haven't been doing book hauls recently and why this will be the last one I do in a while. I really just want to make sure that the books that I'm adding to my physical TBR are books that are going to make an impact on me, that I'm going to love, and that I'm going to want to share with you guys and just yap about. But on top of that, before I end this video, I wanted to tell you guys that I wanted to start a challenge where I pretty much exclusively read physical books on my TBR until I can get it under 30 or 25. I haven't decided. I think that 30 would be a really good number for me just because I can read up to 20 books a month, and so that would still give me good range. And I also wouldn't be feeling guilty that I'm leaving a lot of books unread on my shelves. So I've been thinking about starting a series here on YouTube where I do that, maybe like 1 video a month, and I wanted to ask you guys if you thought it would be fun if I either pulled it out of a jar or did it off of a spinning wheel, or do you think I should just mood read it? Please let me know below because I am really excited about it. I just don't know how I'm going to go about it. But anyways, that is our little book haul, and that brings me to the end of this video. If you made it all the way to the end of this video, please leave me a little stack of books emoji, or please let me know if you've read any of these books and you really think I should push those to the top of my physical TBR. As always, thank you guys so much for being here. If you enjoyed this video, please stay a while, and I will see you guys in my next video.